Alright, what's up guys? JR here. I'm gonna see if I can do something a bit different today. So I'm gonna see if I can take this long back up to the EMA, and then depending upon if we flip or not and continue going lower, I'm gonna see if I can short it back down as well. But this was a relatively strong uptrend, and usually these don't just fall over so easily, but you also have to take into consideration the fact that this could be a range day, which most likely it is a range day, because as you can see, we're swinging below, then above, then slightly below, then above again, and now we're back down beneath the EMA. So it has all of the makings of a range day essentially, with some trends within it. But we're going to see if I can take this thing long back to the EMA, and then depending on what happens, we're going to see if we can jump in it long again, if I get a nice higher low setup, or if we flip over, I'm going to see if I can short it and maybe potentially ride it back down to the lows. But just kind of a bit of an experimentation kind of period to do something a bit different. I do think that the trade is going to work. Granted, this is a fairly strong sell-off. I do think that I'm at least going to get the scalp portion because we are a bit of ways away from the EMA. It's a second entry long, and this was a strong move up. It was a fairly strong move up, and I think we're at least going to touch this EMA before we continue going lower. And also, if you notice, we have 3 bars kind of stacked up right there, so that's a tad bit of congestion, and most breakouts do happen to fail. So I'm thinking we're going to pull back at least for a little bit. It appears as though we got in one tick better than our actual anticipated entry. We were going for a 38.25 entry. They put us in at 38 flat, but we'll see what happens. So we have one target here at 39, which is 1 point away, and then our second contract is going to be 2 points away at 40. So we'll see how that goes. And I think that I'm just going to pause it in the meantime, and I will be right back when we get some form of a change. Although I'm going to wait until this bar closes, and then I'll pause it right after that one, because I don't want this to go on for too long, especially if I'm going to attempt to take another trade shortly after this. If we do get a setup, I'm going to see if I can double up, and if it turns out to be one trade, then it'll be one trade, and if it turns out to be 2 trades, then it'll be 2 trades. But this does look a little bit sketchy when you see a strong sell-off like that. Alright, so we're out on the first contract, and the second one is still in there, but it does look a little bit sketchy when you see a strong sell-off like that. The main reason why I wanted to take this to the long side is because we had such a strong uptrend working up, and they don't usually just flip over like that. And today really reminds me of yesterday. If you'll notice, we kind of had a bit of a downtrend, then we reverse and start trading higher. You had a bit of a sell-off, and then it kind of continues going higher again. So that's kind of what we have today, just on a slightly smaller scale. Bit of a downtrend, bit of a correction, and then a strong uptrend. So that's what we're banking on. That's what we're going to go with. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and pause this. Let me tighten my stop. I'm not going to put it at break even just yet, because we haven't quite gotten that 5th tick that we need. Ideally, I'd like to see 2 more ticks in addition. I want to break above this, and I want 1 more tick so that I know for a fact that I would have been out on my initial anticipated entry. But I'm going to pause it in the meantime, and we'll be right back when we get some form of a change. So we'll be right back. Alright, so a brief update. So we just got our 5th tick on our initial entry point where we would have been in at. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide my stop up to 38.25, since that is the initial entry point that I wanted to get in at. So we would have been out on that first contract, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave the second contract at the same target that it would be for the actual entry that we're in at. But we're going to see if this thing flips over right here, and if it flips over right here, then we're actually going to go ahead and short it, because this will be a failed second entry long, and this is kind of a bit of a reversal pattern by the way that we pushed through this EMA so easily, I guess you could say. And we're pulling back right now, and we're kind of testing it. But if we manage to push through it and continue going higher, and if we get like a tad bit of a higher low or reversal pattern to the downside, so that would be a failed second entry short, then we're going to go ahead and hop in this thing again to the upside, because I still do think that we might get a retest for this move up, because it was fairly strong. It's just that we're not completely sure right now which pattern is going to play out, whether or not it's going to be a range type of pattern, or it's going to be a trend day type of pattern where we want to see a retest of this. So we're just going to go with what the price action is telling us, and right now we don't know what the price action is telling us because I don't think that it completely knows what it wants to do. Like I said, this is a bit of an experimental kind of trade, so we're just kind of having fun right now, and I liked it for the second entry long. We were a bit away from the EMA, and we're still looking for this retest possibly, but we'll see what we get, and we're just going to go back to pause right now, but we'll be right back. Alright, so we're one tick off of getting that 2-point runner, and one more thing to note is that I just kind of noticed that we have a bit of a flatter trend working up. This is our third touch, so this is actually a touch off of our trend line if you just draw that line off of those first two swings. I'm going to go ahead and put a midline on there to kind of see how that fits. And I'm not sure if that's the center point. We need to measure it. Just about, yeah, that's about the center point. That looks like it fits pretty well. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this, let me get this thing out of the way so you guys can see that. But yeah, if it starts coming back, then I'll just slide that back up to where it needs to be. But for now, I'm gonna leave that out of the way so you can actually see the figure. But yeah, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, another thing. I'm going to start changing up the names to these videos because I was looking back through the videos and I kind of realized that naming each and every video the same exact thing is repetitive, redundant, and boring. It's a little bit too formal for me. I'm not really that formal of a person. So I'm just going to start naming them whatever I feel like. So this will probably be, alright, so we got out of that one on that, what is it? We got out of that on the runner as well. So that actually turned out to be a pretty good trade. Yeah, that turned out to be a really nice trade actually. That's a second entry long if you count off that. So it could be a range day, but I'm thinking that we're going to get the retest for this short-term uptrend, and this trend line that I just drew actually may hold as well. So that could be the bigger picture for now. But yeah, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to see if I can take another long because I don't think this is done yet. So we're going to see if we can get a higher low or maybe a failed second entry and then take this to the upside again. So we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back, guys. We got in right here, two contracts, same logistics as before. And this is going to be our failed second entry short right off of our trend line. It's also a second entry long. I really like this setup a lot. I think it's going to take off pretty quickly. I was actually on the phone. I had to hang up the phone as fast as possible because this thing, it ticked me in and then it started moving pretty quick. But we're going to put our stop 2 ticks beneath our signal bar. So we are in at, I think that is 39.25. Our stop's going to be 37.50. So that's a 7-tick risk on 2 contracts. We're going to take off the first contract at 1 point. So it's going to be 40.25. And the second contract is going to be removed at 41.25. Although, depending on how this thing looks, I may go ahead and scoot this thing up a bit higher and see if I can take it off at the highs, or maybe right before the previous high that we have before. But I'm liking this trend line. It's looking like it's holding quite nicely. We have the failed second entry short right here, so we get our first attempt to go lower right there. Pullback, really small pullback, just a 1-bar pullback, and then we get a double tap. It goes 1 tick lower and then turns back up. So that's going to be our failure. Once we break above this bar, that initiates our failure, and that also serves as our signal bar for our second entry long. So we have our first entry right here, pullback, second entry right here once we break a tick above that. So I like this setup. We got a nice bullish bar to follow all of that up. So I'm thinking that we should definitely get the scalp portion within the next minute or so, and then hopefully we can get the runner as well. And we'll see if we can stretch this out and get a nice big runner for today. But yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was that I was. No, I wasn't gonna say anything else. Now that I think about it, there was nothing important to say. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pause it, and then we'll be right back. All right, so it's looking like we might get that scalp portion filled right now, but another thing to note is that if you didn't enter on this bar, you could probably still enter above this bar and be just as safe. Your stop would have to be a tad bit bigger. It would still have to go a tick or two beneath this bar, but this is still another good signal bar that you could enter above if you were a bit late. Not really late, but if you wanted a better, more bullish bar before you went ahead and entered. But I liked entering on this bar because we were right off the trend line, and I liked the fact that it was a failed second entry short, and I just went ahead and used that as my signal bar for the long. But if you want it to be a bit safer, you can go ahead and enter on this. This is a bit of an aggressive trade. Initially when I took this, it was kind of an experimental trade. You're better off to wait on this setup right here, so just keep that in mind. But this is in fact the second entry. I don't know if it's going to be on the chart review today, but it did happen to work out. It worked out nicely. It was good for at least 2 points because I got the first contract and then the second contract, which was at 2 points, so it was good for at least that. But in my personal opinion, I think you're better off to wait on this setup, either a higher low or the failed second entry short. In this situation, we took the failed second entry short, which occurred right here. That's the safer alternative because this is essentially kind of like picking a bottom, which is risky business, but it worked out. It just so happened that we had the trend line coming up right there, so we are out on our first contract at 1 point, and I really think this is going to go higher. So what I think I might do is I think I might just scooch this up and see how big of a runner we can get on this and just kind of go with the flow for the day. I know that I've been kind of in like a cookie cutter format in my previous videos, and I kind of want to break free from that and just do whatever it is that I feel like doing. And today I kind of feel like just having a good time and doing something different. So the titles are going to be different on the videos. I don't know what I'm going to be naming them, just whatever I feel like in the moment. I don't know what this one's going to be called, but I'll see how I feel when I'm uploading it. And if you guys could actually leave me some suggestions on how I can make these videos better, I'd appreciate that. So if you just drop some comments down below telling me what it is that you want to see, if you want to see like some editing, maybe some music, things of that nature, if you want me to go ahead and see if I can make an intro and just kind of make the channel better, let me know please, because it'd be nice to know what you guys want. Yeah, I kind of want to take this a bit more seriously since I'm still pretty young. I just graduated. This is my job. This is what I do. I do have a part-time job on the side, but trading is really, that's my main focus. This is my 9 to 5 essentially. I put in a lot of time doing this. I care about this stuff a lot, and it's nice to have something to be able to show for it. And the thing that I have to show for it is my YouTube channel essentially. So let me know what you guys want to see, man. I kind of want to make this project, I kind of want to make it a project and make it a good one at that. So let me know what you want to see. Let me know how I can make this better. If you want to see like some music in there, some editing, more diversity, whatever it is, just let me know, and I'll look into it. Let me know. Just drop comments below. Tell me what you guys want, and I'll see if I can make it happen. But for now, I'm gonna pause it, and we'll be right back when we get a change in this here scenario. Okay, guys. So for time purposes, I decided to just go ahead and leave this the second contract at 2 points because I want to keep this video still relatively short and not lose anyone's attention in the meantime. But yeah, so just a quick little recap of what we did in this video. We took a second entry long right down here, so you get your first attempt to go higher right there, bit of a pullback. Your second attempt to go higher is right here. This is your signal bar, so we went long 1 tick above that. It was good for, I got the first contract off at 1 point, and then the second contract came off at 2 points somewhere in this region, so that was 3 points from that trade. And then we went ahead and went long again right here. You get a failed second entry short in conjunction with the second entry long, so your new low is right here. You get a bit of a pullback, you get your first attempt to go lower right there, then you get a 1 bar pullback right here, and then you get your second attempt to go lower right there. And it fails when this bar ticks above this bar, so we just went ahead and put our stop 1 tick above this bar, And also, this is a second entry long, so you get your first attempt to go higher right here, and then your second attempt to go higher is once this bar breaks above this bar right there. So good trade. We're still in it right now. We got the first contract off at one point, and now we are 1/2 ticks away from getting this contract off, and everything is off this trend line. And basically, you can just get that trend line by drawing it off these first two swings, and then you confirm it right here, and then you pull back and test it again right there. So I definitely liked going long, and we're out with the second contract. So that's a total of 6 points that we just made in this video. We got 3 points off this trade, then another 3 points off of this trade, and that's going to be 6 points. I think that's like 300, yeah, $300. And yeah, I'm pretty confident that this is going to continue going higher. So at the end of the day, you guys can just check back, look at your chart, and see how high this thing actually went. But that's all that I'm going to do for right now. And this is JR. I'll see you guys next time. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. And yeah, peace.